Hello, my name is Leslie Seabrook. Welcome to my StampinTrix video. Today I'm creating a card using the Paradise Palms bundle and the Abstract Beauty cards and envelopes. So first let me show you the card base that I'm using. It's from the Abstract Beauty cards and envelopes pack. So it is in our mini catalog. I'm just going to flip to the page and show you. Page, sorry, thought I had it. It's called Abstract Beauty Cards and Envelopes, and it is on page 87. So it is a set of 10 envelopes for $13.50. Let me show you a couple of them. I've already used a bunch of them, and so I only have a few left to show you, but they come with really cool pre-printed designs on the front that work for a really awesome card base. So they have this all over watercolor look in Balmy Blue and a bright polished pink and Bumblebee. And then they have some plain card bases like the one I'm using today. And this one is our Night of Navy. And I think this is a combination of our Coastal Cabana blues, like Balmy Blue and Pool Party and whatnot, and then a black. So I've given away a few of my others already, so I'll have to go back and post a couple of pictures on my blog, but they come with these really cool envelopes as well. So you can mix and match your envelopes to the card bases. And the other part that comes with this is a pack of 4x6 designer series paper. So I'm not going to show you a lot about that today, just simply because I want to keep the video as short as possible. But I am going to do a little video on the cardstock or the designer series paper in the future, but I just wanted to show you on the Paradise Palms page within our mini catalog is one of the pieces. So here it is here, again, just an all over Night of Navy pattern with the gold flecks, and then they put it on a Night of Navy card base, I think, right like this, because it fits perfectly. So it's a 4x6, and then and the designer series paper is cut to 4x6 as well, and then they use the Paradise Palms here. So I just wanted to show you that quickly so that you had a frame of reference of where we were going with this. But this is actually the stamp set and dies that I'm going to be using today. So I've used a few of these cards already. I said that I will post them. I think I put the robots on one, and this weekend I'm going to make something. I think I've got my mind going on using this Balmy Blue background. So check back on my www.StampinTrix blog post this weekend, and you might see a new card. As I said, I am going to use this Abstract Beauty. I've got it in a pack here. I'll show you. It's just like so beautiful. There are so many different colors and patterns. It's really cool paper, and I'm going to use it in an upcoming card class. So if you're interested in a virtual card class to go, please check out my website as well for more information. So let me introduce you to the Paradise Palms bundle. And so it comes with this stamp set right here and a set of dies. I was really drawn to this bundle just because I really love the sentiments. I love the font. I love the mix of fonts. And I liked just the very simple sentiments like happy birthday, but retirement wishes. And then I love this one, hope you find a little paradise wherever you may be. And I thought that was a really versatile little saying. I loved the grass here. I thought I could use it on all kinds of different cards. And just this little smush. This is supposed to be sand, I think, but it could be water. And then I really loved the detail on the print of the palms there. And then this is a great little sun as well. So I just thought that there was a lot that could be used with this stamp set. It's cheaper to get it as a bundle. You save 10% when you buy it with the dies. So I really wanted to do that. But if you don't have our mini stamp cut and emboss machine and you would just like to buy the Paradise Palms bundle, I do think that these elements would be easy enough to cut out. And I loved the verticalness of the palms because I'm really into slimline cards lately, and so I just thought that the palms fit really well with that. But today I'm going to show you the dies, and so let me just pull out and remove a few pieces of my paper here so that I don't mix myself up. You can see how well loved my catalog is because it's falling apart at the seams. So I'll just set this out of the way and I'll pull in the dies for you. Now, if you see, I've got a little envelope of dies here. And I like to, when I'm cutting dies, I like to cut a couple of each shape and then keep them for future use. So I just keep them in a little envelope, and that's just like a little tip. I just find that it's efficient to do it that way. So I am just pulling these out so that you can see them all in their individual pieces. So the little thing that I wanted to share with you, let me just see if I want to make sure that I haven't forgot to tell you anything. Oh yes, as I was going to say, so our mini stamp cut and emboss machine is on sale right now for 20% off the usual price. So it's $65.50. So if you have ever considered getting this little mighty mini stamp cut and emboss machine, now is a great time to do it. And so the sale is called Savings Are in Bloom, and I'll put that on my website as well. There'll be a link to a YouTube video. George from Stampin' Up does a demonstration. I don't know if he was one of the designers for the machine itself, but he gives you all sorts of tips and tricks to using it. So here are the dies that come with it, and these palm dies, as I said, can go through the mini stamp cut and emboss machine. I love this element here. I'm not going to use it today. And I did cut them out in Pear, Pizzazz, and Soft Suede just because I wanted to show you the difference of what it looked like to be stamped on a piece of cardstock first, before you cut them out, as opposed to just using white. So here, let me pull up, maybe I'll pull it up this way. So you can see here's the two palm leaves stamped with the same Pear Pizzazz, but stamped on white. And then here they are stamped on Pear Pizzazz cardstock. So I just really love Stampin' Up's color coordination. I just think that it adds an element of dimension. Just if you can see this little card here, or this little image here, it just gives a little bit more dimension just by using the ink on top of the cardstock. So just wanted to show you that. And then there's just the stem of the palm tree, and it has a little ball on the end when it is cut with the die, and that is so that you can put a glue dot there and just put the top of the palm leaves on. So then here's the little sand piece, and I wanted to show you the grass. So here's a little trick. Now, a lot of people say when you cut with a die cut, do you stamp first or die cut first? So here's a bit of a little example for you. So this is the die cut grass piece. It does not have a matching grass piece per se. It has little bits of grass, but they don't match perfectly. So you can certainly, just let me move that. You can certainly stamp first and then die cut out. As you'll see, the little bits of grass just kind of go to the edge here, and so you have these other little blank open spaces on your Pear Pizzazz. That's completely fine depending on how you're using it. You might just love it just like that. Here is another one that was just cut out first, and then I just stamped on top of it afterwards. So the answer to the question, do you stamp first and die cut second, or die cut first and stamp second? It really depends on what you're doing. If you're making a label or a sentiment, you might want to stamp first. But something like this, you might want to play around with the elements themselves and stamp onto it later to get the look that you're wanting. So I'll pull this all out of the way and show you how I assembled the card. It is not rocket science. We need a couple of images here. Oh, and I wanted to also say, you might think that this bit of sand could be cut out with the grass die, but it doesn't really work the greatest, I found. Like, even though I cut off the edges, it sort of just didn't really line up perfectly. But again, you could stamp onto it afterwards if you chose to. So let me get all the elements that I need for mine. Pull them in here, and I'm just going to scooch down and start to assemble the card. And I'll give you a few tips and tricks when I'm, oops, sorry if I bumped the table there. I'll give you a few tips and tricks for assembling a card like this. So as I said, these cards and envelopes are, they're pre-scored, they have a pattern on them, and they are nice and thick. But they do kind of bop up like this, even though I have used the bone folder and tried to create a really nice crease. They just sort of do pop up a little bit here. So sometimes I just take a block and I put it on the corner of it just to keep it level. So then I start to build my scene. And so I think I want the one palm tree that way. I think I'm going to just put the other one here, and then I'm just going to put the grass along the grass and the sand along the bottom, just like that. So I just sort of lay it out ahead of time and just think about how I would like it to go. Now the addition that I made to this card is to use a rectangle, stitched rectangle die. And I just wanted to kind of put it off to the side just like that. Now, I've had these dies forever. I've had them when they originally came out. They were called framelets, stitched rectangular framelets. So they do have a different item number in the annual catalog now. And I have been using them a lot because there is so many dies in the pack. I'm just going to think if I can show you really quickly. There is a ton of different rectangle shapes. So you can do everything from labels. I'll just hold them up because you'll see how many are in there. You can do labels, you can do little squares, big squares, you can create frames. So it was a really super buy a few years back. And as I said, the name has just changed, the item numbers changed, but I reach for them a lot. Now you do need the large regular size stamp cut and emboss machine to use them. But when I was preparing for today's video, I went searching for other dies that have this look. So you can change the length of your paper here to create a little space on the bottom. I just kind of thought it looked like a picture. So you can make it more square, obviously. But as I said, I had the rectangles. So I found this shape. It's a little larger. It is from the Nature's Thoughts dies. And I think I did cut one out in prep. So let me just show you the difference between the two of them. So this is the one that I used. That's the stitch rectangle. And then this is the one that comes from the Nature's Thoughts. And the Nature's Thoughts dies do fit through the Stamp Cut and Emboss machine, the mini, because this is the largest die in the pack. Whereas this set, the rectangle dies, the stitched rectangles, there's so many different shapes. They're much bigger. they need to go through the big machine. But of course, a little one like this you could put through your stamp, cut, and emboss machine that's the mini size. It's just that the pack comes with so much variation. So I don't know if you can quite see, but the Nature's Thoughts die creates this little, almost like a little pierced pattern all the way around the edge, whereas the stitched rectangle gives you these little stitched lines. So it really depends on what you're looking for, but if you were wanting to just use this shape on your card, but what you're left with when this shape comes out is you're left with rounded corners and no piercing along the frame here. So if you like that look better, then this would be a better option. Again, I cut it the same length. I made this 5.5 because the card is 6. And then I think I made this one 3.5, whereas this one's 3.25. I just wanted to, as I said, shift it slightly so it kind of looks like you're looking at a beautiful oceanfront scene and you just kind of come along with your camera and go click, click, you know, and take a picture. So I just wanted to show you the difference between that. Since the Stamp, Cut, and Emboss machine, the mini, is on sale right now, it might be an option to get the Nature's Thoughts dies because they will fit into the machine just beautifully. So getting back to this, sorry, I went kind of a little off track there, but I wanted to give you that little tidbit. So getting back to this is why I kind of lay it out the way that I do. So this is my little trick. I just wanted to have it on an angle just simply because I like that look. Obviously, you could put it straight on and have an even border, but I kind of like the look of you just, you know, coming along and taking a picture. So I use these blocks here because now you see that this palm tree is hanging off the edge a little bit. If you like that look, that's perfectly fine, but I just measure it out to make sure that I'm getting everything laid out the way that I want to. So let's just pull it apart, and I think, as I said, I'm going to just move it in slightly. I think I like that look better, because I want it to ultimately go like that. So I'm going to glue that down there. So I'll just start with that. And as you see what I mean, this little piece of paper just kind of pops up every now and then. So another little trick that I have for you is when you're working with something like this and sort of building a little bit of a scene. I think scenes look really, they look more realistic if you can have variations in height and create a little bit of depth and dimension on your card. So I've chosen to glue this down simply because I just want a flat base. Hoping that I'm within camera here. I want a flat base to start with, or a flat area, and then I want to build up from that. So I'm just going to lay this on here for a minute just so that the glue adheres. And then next I'll create this little palm here. So I chose to go with the mini glue dots for this. Now, I don't know if you've used their mini glue dots, but they're super great. They do have a tiny, I don't know if you can really see it very well, they have a teeny tiny little bit of height to them. So when you put it onto your image, your die cut image, as you see, you can, they're pliable, so you can like pull them together and make a little pile of glue, or you can leave them flat. But just doing that, I don't know if you can really tell, you will have just the teeniest, tiniest little bit of dimension. just by using a glue dot instead of glue to adhere the top on. So I think I'm gonna stick it right there. Standing up and sitting down lots today, so if I miss a comment, I will go back and look later, and I can write any answers to questions if you have them. And I'm sorry if I missed your comment as I'm working away here. Remember the trick with our glue. A little goes a long way. You don't need a lot. It adheres very well. If you see it, you have enough. So I just come in every now and then to make sure that I'm aligned, and I'll just set this block on again. Just let that sit. And then I'm going to add the leaves, or the sand, I mean, and the grass. So while that's sitting, I think I'll just try this little trick of trying to just naturally build up the look of the sand and a bit of grass so that it looks as natural as possible. Now, yes, some of this is going to be covered up by the frame here, so you can decide, oh, you know, I want it to be moved up like that. So even though your bottom of your palm comes off, when you put it like this, you see that grass. So it's completely up to you, however you wish to do it. So I think I may raise it up just a little bit just to get that look. I kind of like it. And another thing is that you can let them hang off the edge, and you'll see how I've done that as well. And I'm just going to cut them off when I'm done. So I'm still continuing to use glue for the one piece, but then I might move to glue dots for the other piece. And again, as I said, it just gives a teeny tiny bit of height and dimension, because if you're sending this card through the mail, you don't want so many layers of dimension that it's going to get crushed in the mail. And I know that I want to put the sentiment on with some dimension as well. I really want to pop it up. So I don't want to add too much dimension here, but I do want to have a little bit of shadow and a little bit of interest. So I hope that all makes sense. It's just a little trick when you're building a card with a scene and using layers to kind of get a bit of a scene happening. So I'm going to use those glue dots, and I think I'll just put it there. Hopefully you'll be able to see just a little bit of grass and sand popping through. So then I just flip the card over and I take off the edge. Now, if you were fussy, well, not fussy, just prefer, if you prefer not to have these edges showing, then obviously you could cut the grass and the sand ahead of time. But I didn't mind having the edges kind of hang over. I just really wanted the center part to be within the frame. So that's why I did it that way. So the next thing I wanted to show you is our adhesive called foam adhesive sheets. Because on the back of this, oh sorry, that's really glaring, I didn't even see that. On the back of this frame, I've used our foam adhesive sheets, and I've just used little strips that were previously cut, maybe from another project. So I just built a frame all the way around the edge so that when it lays down on the card, it pops up, but it pops up evenly. So I'm going to try my very best to show you here with this foam adhesive strip. So they come, you get 2 in a pack, and they're quite long. Let's see how long that is. So 9 inches by 3 inches. and you have all these little individual strips. Now, I've used these foam adhesive sheets when I've made like a window card or something like that, any kind of card with dimension. However, I wanted to show you the difference between the thickness, if you can see that. Sorry if I've got it too close to the camera. These are our mini glue dots, mini Stampin' Dimensionals. They're the same thickness as our regular Stampin' Dimensionals, but look at the difference between them and the foam adhesive sheet. So as I said, when I was creating this card before, or building it up, I was trying to be aware of how much height I would ultimately have. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my birthday cake. And this little birthday cake came from, oh, you know what? I was going to get some Wink Estella for that, and I completely forgot. This birthday cake comes from our Party Puffins, so I'll put the link to that, or the item number to that in my description as well. But I just sort of like the way that it just flipped on the card there. And you can move it down and put the happy birthday beside. Now, little tricks with the cake in cutting it out. It's very fine, sorry. As you see, I haven't cut out the white between the candles here, just because I don't want it to bend or flop over. So if you put white on white, then you're not going to see those little bits of white that you didn't cut out. Now, on a different card that I made, I had a color behind that, so I just used my Stampin' Blends to color in between the candles, and I'll show you that in a minute when I show you the other card. But this cake is just colored with our polished pink Stampin' Blend. And I'll just swatch down here, put this on. It's colored with our, I just moved that, Stampin' Blends markers in polished pink and the bronze color. You get bronze and ivory in one pack, and I really like the bronze color. It has a real nice chocolate cake look to it. So what I think is neat about the Stampin' Blends is I just use the dark polished pink, but I went over the layers, or layered it on a little bit. The plate has, I think, 2 or 3 coats, and the icing only has about 1 coat. So just with one marker, you can create lots of different depths of color, which I think is really cool about the Stampin' Blends. I love them. So then I'm going to pop up the happy birthday, but again, I just want to make sure that it's kind of nudged up towards the cake. So just trying to think about it ahead of time, about where it's going to go. Sometimes I actually put the dimensionals onto the frame, and then I adhere the sentiment onto the dimensionals, if that makes sense. And then this little tiny corner, this little tiny piece right here, this is a perfect time to use up a little scrap of dimensional. So if I had, certainly another dimensional would fit. Hope I'm in camera here still. Another dimensional would fit on here just fine. But if you're down to your last few dimensionals, certainly cut up all the little edges that you have left over here with an old pair of scissors. And then you can, first of all, use up all your dimensionals, because there's a lot left over in the frame circling these little hexagon shapes. But then you can create whatever little shape that you need just for the area that you're working in. So I'm just going to make sure that this is even with the base of the frame here, just for a little bit of continuity. And then all I have to do is just peel off all these little layers, which probably is going to take the bulk of the time. So I've found many uses for these foam adhesive strips. As I said, they were originally, I think, designed to create window cards and, you know, shaker cards and things like that. But yeah, they're just another foam adhesive. So cut them up and use them as you need them, to whatever size. You have these lovely thin strips already for you, and just be mindful that they are a titch bigger than your other ones, so they will give more height to your project. And if you're using them right alongside another dimensional, then you will have different heights in your image. So that's that. Simple, easy way to create this pretty as a picture paradise palm. So I'm going to use, because you always got to have a little bling, right? I'm going to use our In Color Jewels. So these are from the 2021 to 2023 In Color collection. And so this is polished pink, because I've got the polished pink happening on the card here. So I just chose the polished pink jewels. But you have all the colors in our 2021 to 2023 In Colors. So that's that. I'll put the link for that as well, or the item number for that as well in my description. So I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to share with you about just the tricks of doing that. Let me pull in the original one that I started with. So you'll see this one has a little bit more of the Calypso coral in it, but again, the same design. And this one is pink. And then when I got going with the rectangle stitched framelets, as what they're called, sorry, to me, they're just now called stitched rectangles dies. But to me, they're the framelets because that's when I got them. I was actually working with the Waves of the Ocean paper, and I threw this this die cut image down on the paper, and that's when the idea came to me. So I made a slimline card with that one, and I've already posted this one, so you might have already seen it on my blog or other social media. So I did use a different rectangle shape for this one. It came from the Ornate Layers dies, because I was wanting a slimline card, and I really wanted to use this piece of designer series paper in the background. So this is Waves of the Ocean. And as you'll see with this one, I really layered up the grasses, because I wanted everything to be on top of the frame in this case, and I wanted to stick the designer series paper to the back of the frame. So a little bit different way to use the dimensionals, and that's why I said sort of think ahead of time and plan it out. What do you want to have height? So I wanted this palm to have a little bit more height, and I wanted the frame to fall into the background. But if you look here, you can see that just that little dimensional or little mini glue dot underneath there does provide the dimension for that palm tree. So that was with the Waves of the Ocean die. And then here's a completely different one. I'll bring this one in. This is an old stamp set that I used, and I put it into a card challenge called Retro Rubber card challenge blog. And this great little shark is from way back in 2006. So this image is actually on a wood block, as is this sentiment. But the Waves of the Ocean paper is right here, and then this is the Waves of the Ocean die. And again, same Ornate Layers die to create this shape. And that's why I said at the very beginning today is that you could make it smaller, you know, you can make a short little square image, or I was using the rectangle one because that's what I had. So trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to share with you. As I said, the Abstract Beauty Designer Series paper, the 4x6 pack, is what I'm featuring in my card class to go. So if you're interested in signing up for that, please go to my website. I do close it on today, actually. Oh, I didn't even think about that. March 10th. I always close it on the 10th of the month for registration. So there's more information there, and you can email me and I can share any extra information that you might need to know as well. It is a virtual class, as I said. It's complete with a PDF and video tutorial. And the stamp cut and emboss machine. Yes, that was the other thing. So the stamp cut and emboss machine is what is on sale till the end of March. So you'll find all the links to that on my blog as well. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, if you found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up. I'm ever so grateful when I see those thumbs up. And if you would like to share a comment, or if you would like to share this video with anybody else through social media, that would be awesome, as I'm trying to build my online presence. I always take the comments and put them into a hat and draw a name, and I will do a make a card, send a card often, and I have a couple of these cards today, so I will send one off if you would like to comment and share. And as I said, I hope this video has inspired you to maybe create with some pre-made cards like this with the matching envelopes. Or I hope maybe that it's inspired you to consider the Paradise Palms bundle. As I said, whether or not you use the dies, the stamp set is absolutely gorgeous and I think very, very versatile. So thank you so very much for watching and have a super day. Bye-bye.